Lord Inquisitor here. This is the first game of my Southern Assault battle reports. This is the Southern Assault Grand Tournament in North Carolina. This is a comp tournament. It uses a Swedish comp. So this is a system where each army is calculated to have a comp score, and in principle, the softer the army, the higher comp score. So a really rock-hard tournament build is going to be about a 0. A nice, soft, fluffy army should be around a 20. In this case, the first 2 rounds, we were paired by comp score. So I could be expecting to face someone with a similar-looking army to mine. So I drew against Gern in the first round. He's part of Team Tomahawk, which is part of the Foul Glamers Club. We actually played the Team Tomahawk at the Bragging Rights Team tournament, so I knew Gern already. So this is Orcs and Goblin army, and frankly, for a 20, it scares me. It is a really solid all-round army, and surprisingly nasty for a 20-point list. So going from left to right, he's got a Night Goblin, big Lord, in fact, on a Giant Squig, which I think is awesome. He has 2 Giants and then 2 units of Wolf Rider Fast Cav. These I really needed to get rid of. They are super fast, very annoying fast cav units, and basically my big advantage here is in board control. I have to get rid of his chaff units, otherwise I can't fight these units in a fair fight. The only way I can win is if I make it an unfair fight. Behind his Wolf Riders on the left, he's got a big unit of Savage Orcs. They've got his Black Orc Warboss in there to prevent animosity. He has a big unit of Squigs. Squigs, likewise, I just can't engage them in the front. They're way too nasty. Not only that, but if I do break them, they explode and they will kill everything nearby. I have been on the receiving end of that with my Slanesh Demons, and it's not pretty. Behind that, I have a unit of Night Goblins with bows to contend with. That's his bunker for his 2 mages, 2 sort of level 1-2 mages, and his BSB. They have nets, no fanatics, so 20-point list. And then he has a unit of Savage Orcs. These are wearing, sorry, not Savage Orcs, Black Orcs. These are wearing the orange armor next to his giant. So that's his list. I set up like this across from him. I set up my infantry and my support units on the flanks, and I put my chariots, my Greater Demon, and my fiends in the middle. So I'm hoping I can use my speed to focus that against a small part of his army. His first turn, he didn't move up very much. He had some animosity issues. I moved my army forward, so I was able to get my Seekers right down the back beside his army. I'm looking to get a charge in against his bunker with the Night Goblins. In my first turn, I cast Acquiescence on his Wolf Riders. What this does is it gives the unit random move and d6. That just ensures he's not getting anywhere more than 6 inches from his current position, and will prevent him from blocking my units with that unit. On the other side, I used Searing Doom. I used a boosted Searing Doom on a unit of Night Goblin Wolf Riders, which seems like a massive overkill there, but it doesn't even kill them very effectively. They've only got a 5+ save. It's only going to win them on 5s. But what I'm trying to do is do at least 2 wounds, make him take that break check on Leadership Goblin, and hopefully get them to flee. So it worked. I casted Irresistible Force. I killed 2 goblins. They fled. They failed to rally. That got rid of one of those irritating chaff units. The downside, of course, was that I took a wound on my Greater Demon and had to burn my 2+ ward against the first wound suffered on my BSB from the miscast. So his second turn, he's moved up a good bit more. His Squigs are now getting into range. His unit at the back has squabbled, so they are not moving anywhere. And the unit of Wolf Riders that I cast Acquiescence on also squabbled, so they really hemmed in those Savage Orcs and prevented them from being able to move forward. In my turn, I was able to get a charge with the Greater Demon, the Fiends, and a Chariot into his Black Orcs. It took a little bit of finagling to measure it. We measured it very carefully. They were able to do it. It was very, very tight, but especially once you took out the movement trays from the consideration, they were able to do that. And the big chariot went into his giant there. My BSB is still alive. She was just falling off all over the place, so we just took her off. My hope here is that the chariot will be able to kill the giant, overrun, hit the Black Orcs, fight again. And I also blocked his squigs with the Furies. So in the magic phase, I was able to cast Cacophonic Choir on his giant, did a bunch of wounds. I rolled a 10 for the magic phase. The first magic phase I did an 11. So my magic phases were great. I mean, at this point, it's now given my whole army a 4+ ward. And then in combat, I was able to kill the giant with the combination of the impact hits, the hero's attacks, the crew's attacks, and the steeds, and then overrun. So that chariot was able to overrun, hit the flank of the Black Orcs, and do impact hits again. And I was able to challenge out his unit champion, prevent him from challenging my Greater Demon. There was 3d6 plus 2 impact hits going in there, plus all the fiends, plus all the steeds and people. So this made a huge mess of the Black Orcs, and he had very few remaining. On the other side, I charged the giant with a bunch of demonettes. The giant yelled and bawled, and basically prevented me from winning combat. Over this side, the Black Orcs died. They broke, ran away. I ran them down. Looks like I made a mistake at this point. The big chariot should not have overrun again, since it had already overrun once this turn. That was a mistake that neither of us noticed at the time. So, and then the Seekers charged into the flank of his Goblin unit. I tried to put as many attacks as I could against his characters. I'm trying to assassinate his wizards, cut down his casting power. I think I was able to kill one of his wizards. Okay, so in his turn, he was able to charge the Furies with his big block of squigs. And he turned his big unit of Savage Orcs around. He's hoping to be able to get them into combat with something. After combat, the squigs turned around. Now, this is the one big error I think my opponent made. He played very well. I know he's a good player, but this puzzled me. I mean, at that point, they're not going to be able to charge anything because the Savage Orcs are in the way. The unit is too wide. What he really wanted to do was reform facing my Greater Demon, but he was too wide for that. He has to reform, keep the center point the same. He can't come within an inch of the Savage Orc, so he simply wasn't able to do that. I think I would have formed up 5 wide just to be able to ensure they're able to charge, and definitely would have made things a little bit more difficult. Because at that point, that's not any deterrent for me. The only time the squigs are going to be able to charge is if I kill all of the Savage Orcs. The Seekers in combat with the Goblins. The Goblins are now turned round. I know they're still facing forwards, but they've reformed to face. They did a bunch of wounds. I actually would be happy for them to die at this point because they're kind of blocking the charge from my big chariot. I can't quite make that wheel and still hit that unit, and I can't quite fit on the other side either. On the other side of the board, the Night Goblin Warboss has charged in to try and help the giant. They definitely did a lot more damage this time. They killed a bunch of demonettes between them, but I was still steadfast. They still had ranks. They were still okay. And they did a bunch of wounds to the giant in return. So, in my turn, I have charged Greater Demon in combat with the Savage Orcs, and I've put him in base contact with the Black Orc. If he doesn't challenge me, I'll be able to smack the Black Orc. My Fiends have gone into the Goblins. I'm doing it because I know I'm safe from the squigs unless all of the Savage Orcs disappear. And my chariot wasn't able to do very much. So I'm bringing my other units in around to threaten those squigs. Against the giant does a whole bunch more wounds, and he's down to just 1 wound remaining. I'm still steadfast. They needed 1 more to kill, and that probably would have popped the unit, so I'm down to 5 models. In combat, First round, he challenges with his champion in his Savage Orcs. Obviously, I have to accept with my Greater Demon, kill the champion. I win combat, but he's steadfast. He's got Leadership 9. He's got a reroll, so he's good. And against the Goblins, I attack the Goblins. I do a bunch of wounds. I'm trying to kill the Goblins down to not be steadfast anymore. And so there you can see the damage done by the Fiends into the Goblins. So, my turn. I roll another 10 for the Winds of Magic, I should point out. So, the Winds of Magic rolls for the first 3 turns of the game were an 11, a 10, and 10. So, for 2 turns of the game in a row, I had a 4+ ward save on everybody. This really helped prevent the damage coming back from the Orcs and Goblins. And I have to say, I was embarrassed by my dice at this point. They really were out of control, and Gurm was a really good opponent. He didn't seem fazed by this at all, because I was like, I swear they're not loaded. All right, so against the Giant, the Demonettes were able to nick that last wound off, and he didn't fall in a particularly entertaining direction, unfortunately. He just fell backwards. And the Demonettes were able to then break the Night Goblin boss and chase after him. Against the Savage Orcs, I'm now able to challenge his general. I killed his general, and the Savage Orcs had had enough, and they broke and ran. And against the Night Goblins, again, he's not been able to kill any of my Fiends. I still have 2 ranks I was able to kill, and I'm just everybody's hitting rank and file, just trying to get rid of those ranks. They were able to get him to just below 3 ranks. And he failed his panic check, his break check, and ran away. So they were dead as well. So that leaves just the Squigs. Now this is the end of his turn. So it's my turn next. There's the Giant's dead, and I've broken that Night Goblin. And everybody pursued. I was just trying to get as far away from the Squigs as possible. I hit the Squigs on both sides with Demonette units, and I put a Chariot in there for good measure. So the Demonettes killed a whole bunch of Squigs, and the Squigs do what the Squigs do, and they exploded. This did a whole bunch of wounds. They killed 2 Fiends. I killed, over half of my Demonettes died, and my Chariot almost died. But this tournament uses straight victory points out of the rulebook. There's no points for units under half strength, so none of this actually added up to any victory points for him. So at the end of the game, I had almost full points on him. He still had a unit of Wolf Riders running around. So this translated as a 16-4 under the tournament guidelines. So that was a really good game 1. I wish I could claim massive tactical brilliance for it, but my dice were just on fire for this game. So it was to the point of being embarrassing. So that's it. On to game 2. That was a good enough win to push me straight onto table 1.